Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. The Bloomington Redevelopment Commission approved an amended project review form for the IU Health Bloomington Hospital site. Economic and Sustainable Development Director Alex Crowley spoke about the new increased site costs at the February 17th meeting.
You'll note that it goes up from what was around 680,000 or so, 6.8 million to 10 million. And the reason for that significant increase is two things. First, we are getting very close, and by the next meeting, you all should have in front of you an agreement for a master planning partner to help the master planning process for the hospital site. So the line item here for master planner of $500,000 is really to hold for that agreement, which should be forthcoming here within a couple of weeks.
Crowley said potential site infrastructure investments also reflect price increases, and that listed prices are estimates. At the February 17th meeting of the Bloomington Utilities Service Board, City Engineer Phil Peden presented an agreement with Miller Pipeline for the 2019-2020 sewer rehabilitation project. He said the project includes pipelining as well as chemical grouting.
Once it gets lined where the joints and the cracks are in the pipe, the water stops, but it really just migrates over and finds the lateral and then enters our sewer main again. And so the grouting, they'll bring a packer into the trunk line here, and then they'll send a bladder, is what they call it, up the lateral, and then infuse the lateral with grout to plug in those gaps.
Peden said grouting will fix cracks and joints, and added that sewer pipelining will occur in South Fritz Terrace, Hoosier Acres, and Highland Village. He said residents will be notified but should not experience long-term sewer or street intrusion. The agreement was passed unanimously. Richland Bean Blossom Superintendent Jerry Sanders proposed Cali Services to assist with substitute teacher fill rates. He spoke about the current complications at the RBB School Board meeting on February 17th.
I witnessed different times during the school year where we had to, a teacher was out, we could not get a sub, so we had to divide those kids up into the other classrooms. I was in my office meeting with a couple of our principals, and one of the principal's secretaries called and said that a sub that they anticipated coming did not show up. And so she had to reassign staff who would normally have been working individually with students. They had to reassign those people to cover a classroom, so those students were not getting the services that they needed. There have been a number of times where we've had to cancel professional development activities because we did not have substitute teachers to cover.
Superintendent Sanders said Cali Services will provide financial incentives and benefits. He said specific grade buildings can still be requested by substitute teachers and that a separate retiree insurance program would still be available.
We will still be able to continue our retiree insurance program. Now those folks, I think there's 2 or 3 of them right now, they actually won't be Cali Services, they will just sub for us. They'll still go on the ASOP and get jobs like everybody else, but they will not be a Cali Service employee. Those are people who've retired and took the option of working to have insurance.
Sanders said substitute teacher training would also increase. The school board approved the service proposal with services starting in the 2020 fall semester. Ryan Daly, garage manager for the City of Bloomington, presented change orders for the Walnut Street Garage Stairwell project to the Board of Public Works on February 18th. He said fee adjustments were due to the need for additional services.
Removal of silicone, all 3 levels of the block walls and prep for painting. The 2 bottom levels of the parking garage stairwell was covered in silicone over the top layer of paint. This incurred additional labor costs to remove prior to painting. This is a change order of $2,119.20. 3 additional months of rent of barricades for the construction site. Due to project delays and additional change order requests, The contractor was directed to rent protective barriers around the work site. That was an additional change order of $2,937. Reroute the sprinkler system for our new exits. Due to the new exit stairwell, the sprinkler system was rerouted to new exit locations. It was a $925 change order. Install paint and new handrails for the new exit lanes. The new handrails were installed at each point of the stairwell. This was a $3,500 change. And finally, repair and install a ceiling in the restaurant below the parking garage stairwell on level 2 landing.
Daly said the total change order cost is approximately $11,500 and stairwell completion is projected for early March 2020. And we'll have more Cats Week after this break.
Do you know that thousands of children go without school supplies every day? Teachers Warehouse is a 100% volunteer-powered organization. We service the educational and creative needs of students in Monroe, Brown, Greene, Lawrence, and Owen counties by distributing school supplies free to the teachers. Teachers Warehouse is composed of 7 rooms filled with books, pencils, paper, and even tools to motivate students. If it's in a classroom, we'll supply it. To donate new or gently used school supplies or volunteer, give us a call at 812-929-7522 or email us at contact@teacherswarehouse.net.
Welcome back to Cats Week. On February 18th, the Monroe County Plan Commission approved a recommendation for Holland Pines high-density rezone. During the meeting, planner Tammy Behrman listed new petitioner commitments.
So the first one is that a 15-foot wide conservancy easement would be along the west and south property lines designated on the plat. They're proposing connections. The project will require a connection of the proposed extension of East Holland Drive from the cul-de-sac and Hollandfield subdivision to the west property line. And this project would also require applicable sidewalk connections. And then the third one is that 0.22 acre minimum lot size adjacent to Derby Drive would be required. And not the 0.14 acre minimum lot size that the HR zone allows. So they're putting a restriction on themselves with this.
Behrman said the proposed subdivision would reduce the number of lots from 24 to 22. She said only single-family homes will front Derby Drive. Petitioner Chris Bomba said the neighborhood aesthetic will be maintained.
I do want to also mention these are not duplexes. I also want to make for the record I'm not planning to do Section 8 or subsidized housing with this. Our goal is to, if approved, get the basic infrastructure in, build a model, and if demand goes away, we're not going to build the whole place out. We'll build as people see fit.
Behrman said a preliminary plat phasing would consider design specifics. Local real estate broker Andy Walker mentioned a high demand for multifamily development. And neighboring resident Jason Jackson spoke about downsizing needs for development residents.
I believe Ms. Thomas said she came and visited our area and said this development seemed to be incongruent with the rest of the area. And I totally agree with that. For 21 years, I've been a financial advisor. I've dealt with people who have decided in their lifetimes to downsize. I'm sure Mr. Bomba in his time as well knows people who have downsized. When you downsize, you want a smaller space, but what you also want are more services from the city. You need the hospital closer. You need the doctor's office closer. You want to deal with more restaurants. You want walking paths. You want sidewalks, trails. That is what people do when they downsize and get close to retirement. They usually don't move out into the county.
Commissioner David Warren found the development compatible with the neighborhood.
I don't see these zero lot line homes as being incompatible with the neighborhood. I live in Fieldstone now on the west side. We've built a bunch of zero lot line homes there. I think it adds to our neighborhood. It adds some housing diversity, improves affordability.
The Monroe County Commissioners will hear the recommendation for final approval at a future meeting. The Bloomington City Council approved the non-consensual towing Bloomington Municipal Code Amendment as amended. Council members discussed the ordinance as a whole in their February 19th meeting. Councilmember Sue Scambaluri asked Deputy Attorney Stephen Lucas if charges would apply to the payment plan option.
B was drafted to allow for consensual services for towing or dolling or any other sort of services offered by the towing company with the consent of the owner. That's my reading of it. I certainly see how you could read B to possibly allow that, but my argument would be it doesn't.
Yeah, my only thought was that if someone requests the opportunity to have a payment plan, are they requesting a service? Does that make sense?
My reading is A would preclude those extra charges.
Got it. Thank you.
Tow company owner Cody Chandler said 20% payment of the total cost is too low for customers to receive their car on a payment plan. He suggested a raise to 50%. Tower Matt Stryker was concerned about losing money as a result of payment plans.
If we choose to do a payment plan, they sign a piece of paper. You and I both know that piece of paper is no good. We have to sue them civilly. So we absorb those costs. Cost $97, I think, to file in civil court here in Monroe County. So now we're adding costs to that. And then once there's a judgment issued, they go on a payment plan with the court system, then they don't pay, or they pay payments over time, which is fine. But then when they don't pay, it goes to a default judgment. And then that's not enforced by anybody. So my question is 20% or even 50 or whatever number is agreed upon here. How do we get our money? How do we not go out of business?
City Attorney Mike Ruker said collection agencies could be used instead of going to court. Councilmember Isabel Piedmont Smith said a standing committee would have better served the ordinance. During the meeting, council members also approved establishing standing committees and abolishing certain other committees of the Common Council. Councilmember Stephen Volan explained the difference between commissions and committees.
A board or a commission is a citizen commission that often has joint appointments from the administration and the council. Committees are nothing more than subsets of council members. The whole idea of this proposal is to divide up the work that we do. They are sub-quorum. They cannot make a decision on behalf of the whole council.
Volan went on to say standing committees would hear appointed issues but could not take binding action and can only make recommendations to the full council. Councilmember Scambaluri said complex issues can still be referred to the committee of the whole.
It is certainly possible if a very complex piece of legislation comes to us that really does span all the multiple areas. I would personally be fine with sending it to the committee of the whole if that makes sense. Beyond that, I think, and this is where Councilmember Volan, you may want to comment, there has always been a possibility for any committee member or any council member to attend any committee. So I don't think someone not being on the committee that gets a piece of legislation precludes them being involved in that conversation.
The council voted to create 10 standing committees. And we will have more Cats Week after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying. I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
But with Girls Inc. in my corner,
There for me, every day. Believing in me.
Showing me what's possible.
I can be strong enough to respect myself and my body.
to say I can rather than I can't,
To say no with no apology.
To be a leader.
to finish school,
To own my future.
To break the cycle.
Girls Inc. believes every girl can succeed. That's why the trained professionals of Girls Inc. are there for our girls every day, supporting, mentoring, and guiding them in a safe, girls-only environment. Building bonds that last for years and change that lasts a lifetime. Girls Inc. gives girls the tools they need to boldly face challenges, to resist peer pressure, to be the first in their families to go to college, to beat the odds. With Girls Inc. in her corner, every girl can be healthy, confident, and resilient. She'll do more than dream about her potential. She'll reach it.
With you in my corner.
with you in my corner, I will not be another statistic.
I will fight for myself.
For my future.
With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc. Inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Welcome back to CATSweek. City Planner Dre Myers proposed a low residency residential rezone request at the February 19th Monroe County Commissioners meeting. He said the rezone is to permit use of an existing guest house.
Chapter 802 of the Monroe County Zoning Ordinance defines a guest house as, quote, an accessory building containing a lodging unit with or without kitchen facilities used to house occasional visitors or non-paying guests of the occupants of a dwelling unit on the same site.
Myers said current single-family residential zoning is very similar to low residency zoning, and the Van Buren property includes a single-family residence, detached garage, carport, utility shed, and guest house. He said no business is conducted from property buildings. Myers mentioned two proposal conditions.
And that condition is that the petitioner apply for a permit to convert the use of a residential accessory structure to that of a guest house, and also submit a signed affidavit that that structure and use meets the definition of guest house. And then condition number 2 would be the petitioner apply for all the necessary after-the-fact building permits for all unpermitted structures on the property. Those two structures would be the utility shed and the carport.
The commissioners approved the low residency rezone. Health Administrator Penny Caudill presented an insertion order for public health ads at the Monroe County Commissioners' work session meeting on February 19th. She said the ads will run in movie theaters.
You know, the nice thing, and we've used local health maintenance funds to buy the rights to the ads, so we have to pay to have them developed, and then they're theirs, right? And so we've used local health maintenance money to actually get the rights to them so that we can have that hand washing ad and use it on our website and other things. We did an stigma one last fall around substance use disorder.
The commissioners approved the insertion with pending ratification set for February 26th. Monroe County Public Library Board of Trustees discussed fee, checkout, and borrowing updates at their February 19th meeting. Director Marilyn Wood gave an update on subscription cards.
But there's one additional item, and that is for the annual subscription card. It previously had been $60, but as we did our annual report and our operating costs and our per capita fee, $60 did not cover it. So we increased this to $65, which is also the charge that the state has for plaque cards.
Wood said items over 21 days late will result in replacement fees. Bloomington Mayor John Hamilton presented the State of the City address at a February 20th special City Council meeting from the Buskirk Chumley Theater. Hamilton focused on climate and sustainability goals. He also proposed an income tax increase.
So I have proposed what I see as our best option, a 0.5% increase to our local income tax, which we can dedicate to sustainable economic development. This substantial new income should be focused on addressing these dual challenges, pursuing these dual opportunities over the next decade for a much more sustainable Bloomington.
Hamilton said after passing a tax increase, Bloomington would rank the third lowest of the 7 neighboring counties for income tax rates. He said taxes would be used for constituent-requested sustainable action.
An overwhelming 90% of respondents consistently want the city to help residents experiencing homelessness with housing and also with job training and substance use disorder services. We are compassionate and we want action. Similar numbers rate affordable and workforce housing as in dramatically short supply and needing more city support. We want action. We also unequivocally want a diverse and welcoming community, and one hears strong support for biking, walking, transit services, infrastructure. This is the city our residents, you, want.
Hamilton said Bloomington was listed as an A city from the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy based on leadership and transparency on climate action. He spoke about sustainability actions taken by the city.
Our water utility launched a new $4 million green stormwater infrastructure program and is installing 15,000 new smart water meters. Bloomington Transit just bought its second all-electric bus, joining a hybrid fleet. Last year's urban forest report found that we have increased the city's public tree population over 50% in the last 12 years. Solar investments have soared in the community, with PV systems at 32 city properties, 5 megawatts of new solar capacity for municipal operations and private homeowners. $10 million in bicentennial bonds are adding more public trails, trees, and other amenities to improve health and quality of life for all. We are shaping more sustainable land use with projects like the redevelopment of the hospital site and with robust tools like our newly passed zoning code.
Hamilton said the city is working toward creating clean natural gas from local organic waste and spoke about the city diversity inclusion.
We also must address the legacies of racism and injustice that persist today, right here. We explicitly need to imagine and work toward a 2030 where belonging is actual and universal, where in Bloomington, the color of one's skin or the zip code or country of one's birth or the language one first learned or whom one loves or the gender one identifies with, that none of that determines opportunities or possibilities.
Mayor Hamilton also said taxes would increase social services and affordable living, and he encouraged community involvement on the tax increase decision. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.